In this video, we take a look at a rare set of 4 old express lifts. Now, these appear to be 1960s express lifts, but you can't have a set of 4 1960s express lifts because these are entirely relay controlled. You can't have a set of 4 entirely relay controlled lifts. So what is going on here? One of 2 options is happening. Option 1, these are actually 70s lifts with 60s fixtures and use the next generation on of logic, which uses ice cube relays, and in the middle of the 4 lifts is a set of circuit boards that runs the lift as a set and dispatches the lifts. Or option 2, these were originally 2 sets of 2 60s express lifts, and later on in the 70s or 80s, Express added some circuit boards to these to run the entire lifts as a set. If this was the case, this would be a very rare setup indeed.
Doors closing, opening. Doors closing.
Let's now surf these epic lifts.
A bit of visual space control there. Right.
Then, you've just watched a video of a set of 4 express lifts, most likely using Express's 70s or 80s circuit boards to run the entire system as a set. This is because you can't have a set of 4 entirely relay controlled lifts. But you can have a set of 3 entirely relay controlled lifts. So how does this work? Because when you have a set of lifts as entirely relay controlled, it is very interesting. With relays, you cannot do calculations, so you can't calculate which lift is better to respond to a call. So what happens is, when you've got a set of 2 relay lifts, when you press the up button, this defaultly goes to the left lift, but if the left lift is busy, it then refers the call on to the right lift. When you press the down button, this defaultly goes to the right lift, but if the right lift is busy, it refers the call on to the left lift. This system works, but is not necessarily that efficient because when you press the button to call a lift, quite often the lift further away from you responds to your call. With this setup, there's 2 failure points. Failure point number 1 is if the lifts never refer their calls, and I've come across this scenario a few times. When this happens, you press the button to call the lift, and if you're on the ground floor pressing the up button, only the left hand lift responds to your call, despite the fact the right hand lift appears to be inactive. Or the second failure point is, and this is a more common one, when the lifts always divert their calls, so you press the button to call the lift and both lifts respond. These failure points are quite common nowadays simply because modern day engineers have no clue how to maintain relay logic. Sadly, sets of 2 lifts are entirely relay controlled have become incredibly rare in recent years. But what about sets of 3 relay control lifts? Now these are super rare. With a set of 3 relay controlled lift, how I believe it works is if you press the up button, this defaultly responds to lift number 1, and if lift number 1 is busy, it diverts the calls to lift 3. If you press the down button, this defaultly refers to lift 2, but if lift 2 is busy, it refers the calls to lift 3. So the third lift simply takes the calls of the other 2 lifts when they're busy. Now, sets of 3 relay lifts are rare, I've never actually come across one. So if you know of a set of 3 lifts that are entirely relay controlled, please let me know, because I've never seen one and I really want to see one.
Then I'll do that.